lie to him.
I know, but what you're considering a lie and what I consider a lie might be two different things. I'm from America. My culture is different than yours.
Maybe lie is
Are
lie.
you or were you a lesbian? Do you practice lesbianism?
I'm so guilt-ridden because I love this man. And I just want to be open and honest and get this over with and see if he'll take me for who I am. But it's getting harder.
The room goes silent, the kind of silence that makes your skin prickle, and all eyes are locked on Lisa as Daniel's uncle, with a voice as sharp as a knife, asks her the one question she never thought she'd have to answer in front of a family. Were you ever with a woman, Lisa? Are you a lesbian? For a split second, you can see every thought racing through her mind, her face frozen, her hands gripping the edge of her seat so tightly, her knuckles turn white. And Daniel, sitting next to her, doesn't flinch, doesn't blink, just stares straight ahead like he's watching someone else's life fall apart. The uncle's gaze is cold, unblinking, and the air in the room feels heavy, like everyone is holding their breath, waiting to see if Lisa will shatter or, somehow, hold it together. This isn't just a family dinner. This is a public trial, and Lisa is the only one on the stand. How did it come to this? How did Lisa, who thought she was flying across the world for love, end up in a living room in Nigeria, being interrogated about her past by a man she met only hours ago? The answer is messier than anyone wants to admit. Lisa's suitcase is packed with more than clothes. She's carrying secrets, regrets, and a gnawing guilt that's been eating at her since the moment she booked her ticket. She's still married, she's been with women for over 2 decades, and she sent Daniel money she didn't have, all while hoping that love would be enough to smooth over the cracks. But love, as she's learning, doesn't erase the past, and it definitely doesn't protect you from the truth when it comes knocking in the form of a blunt, unfiltered uncle. Daniel, on the other hand, is playing a different game. He's got his eyes on the prize, a new life in America, a shot at something bigger than what he's known, and he's willing to say whatever it takes to get there. He's told his uncle just enough to keep the family on his side, but not enough to scare them off, and now he's watching Lisa squirm, waiting to see if she'll stick to the script or blow up the whole plan. His face is unreadable, but his silence speaks volumes. He's not here to save her, he's here to see if she can save herself. Hey, you're watching Reality Sport, and I'm Oliva. If you're as shocked as I am right now, hit that subscribe button and drop your wildest prediction in the comments. Because trust me, this story is only getting started, and you do not want to miss what happens next. The stakes couldn't be higher. Lisa is desperate to prove she's worthy of Daniel's family, desperate to believe that honesty will set her free, but every word she says feels like a trap. If she tells the truth, she risks losing everything, Daniel, the dream, the future she's been clinging to. If she lies, she digs herself deeper into a hole she might never climb out of. Daniel's ambition is a silent force in the room, pushing Lisa to perform, to say the right things, to be the perfect fiancé, even if it means erasing parts of herself. The family's expectations are clear: tradition, respect, and no surprises. But Lisa is nothing if not a surprise, and the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. You can almost hear her heartbeat pounding in her chest as she tries to decide what to say next. The uncle's eyes never leave her, Daniel's silence is deafening, and Lisa knows that whatever she says now will change everything. Will she crack under the pressure, or will she double down and try to hold her story together for just a little longer? The answer is coming, and it's going to shake this family to its core. The morning starts with Lisa staring at a pile of brightly colored fabric, her hands shaking as she tries to remember which piece goes where, the instructions from yesterday's lesson already slipping through her fingers. The head wrap is supposed to be a symbol of respect, but right now it feels like a test she's doomed to fail. Daniel stands over her, arms crossed, correcting every move, his patience wearing thin as he reminds her, again, that in his family, tradition isn't optional. Lisa fumbles with the fabric, her reflection in the mirror a stranger in borrowed clothes, and she can feel the weight of Daniel's expectations pressing down on her shoulders. He wants her to get it right, not for her sake, but for his. Every misplaced fold, every crooked seam is a mark against her in his eyes. Daniel's voice is sharp, but his actions tell a different story. He insists Lisa kneel when they enter the uncle's house, that she hand over the wine with both hands, that she greet everyone in the proper way. But when it comes to his own behavior, the rules seem to bend. He jokes with his friends in the hallway, slips his phone out to check messages when he thinks no one's looking, and shrugs off the parts of tradition that don't suit him. Lisa notices, but she doesn't say anything. She's too busy trying to memorize the script he's given her, too afraid of making a mistake that will cost her everything. The double standard is obvious, but in this house, Daniel's word is law, and Lisa is the outsider trying to fit in. As the morning drags on, Lisa's anxiety grows. Every new instruction feels like another hurdle, and the more she tries to prepare, the more she realizes how little she understands. The customs are unfamiliar, the expectations unspoken, and Daniel isn't interested in explaining. He tells her to trust him, to follow his lead, but offers no reassurance, no comfort, just a list of do's and don'ts that seem to multiply by the minute. Lisa's mind races with questions she's too afraid to ask. What if she forgets to kneel? What if she says the wrong thing? What if the family sees through her before she even opens her mouth? What Lisa doesn't know is that Daniel has already set the stage for what's about to happen. The night before, while Lisa was practicing her lines in the guest room, Daniel was on the phone with his uncle, sharing details about Lisa's past that she thought were private. He tells his uncle about her previous relationships, about the rumors he's heard, about the things she's confessed in moments of vulnerability. He frames it as honesty, as transparency, but in reality, he's building a case for himself, making sure his family knows he's in control. Lisa is completely in the dark, believing she's walking into a fair test, not realizing the questions have already been stacked against her. The tension between them is almost invisible, but it's there in every glance, every clipped word, every forced smile. Lisa wants to believe that if she tries hard enough, if she follows every rule, she'll be accepted. But Daniel's silence, his refusal to share what's really going on, leaves her feeling more alone than ever. She's playing a part in a story she doesn't understand, and the fear of slipping up is starting to eat away at her confidence. What else is Daniel hiding? And how far will Lisa go to keep her secret safe? The morning is only the beginning, and as the day unfolds, the gap between what's said and what's true will only get wider. The stage is set, the players are in position, and the real drama is about to begin. The car ride to Daniel's uncle's house is quiet. The kind of quiet that makes every little sound feel amplified, every bump in the road a jolt to Lisa's nerves. She stares out the window, watching the city blur past, her mind replaying Daniel's instructions over and over, trying to lock every detail into place. When they finally pull up to the house, Lisa's heart is pounding so hard, she wonders if everyone else can hear it. The front door opens, and Daniel's uncle stands waiting, his face unreadable, his posture stiff. Lisa forces a smile, but her hands are trembling as she steps out of the car, clutching the carefully wrapped bottle of wine like it's a lifeline. Inside, the air is thick with expectation. Family members gather in the living room, their eyes flicking from Lisa to Daniel and back again, sizing her up, measuring her against the standard she doesn't understand. Daniel gives her a quick nod, a silent reminder to follow his lead, and together they approach the uncle. Lisa tries to remember the order of things. Kneel first, then present the wine, then wait for the signal to rise, but her mind is a jumble of nerves and half-remembered instructions. She lowers herself to the floor, knees creaking, and offers the wine with both hands, her arms shaking just enough to make the bottle rattle. The headpiece she spent all morning trying to secure slips sideways, and she feels a flush of embarrassment creep up her neck. The uncle accepts the wine with a nod, his expression still neutral. But as Lisa straightens up, she catches a flicker of something in his eyes. Curiosity, maybe, or suspicion. The ritual continues, each step a test, each gesture scrutinized. Lisa's smile feels brittle, her movements stiff, but she pushes through, determined not to let her nerves show. Daniel stands beside her, silent and composed, his face giving nothing away. For a moment, it almost feels like she's passed, like the worst is over. But then the uncle's tone shifts. The warmth drains from his voice, replaced by a cool formality that sends a chill down Lisa's spine. He starts with simple questions, but each one is loaded. Where are you from, Lisa? What do you do for work? How do you plan to support Daniel? Lisa answers as best she can, her voice steady but her mind racing. She talks about her job in healthcare, about her commitment to family, about her willingness to embrace new traditions. But every answer feels like a tightrope walk, one wrong word away from disaster. When the uncle asks about her finances, Lisa hesitates for just a second too long. She says she's stable, that she can provide for Daniel, but the truth is, she's drowning in debt, borrowing money from friends just to keep up appearances. The lie slips out so smoothly she almost believes it herself, but the audience knows better. The camera lingers on her face, catching the flicker of guilt in her eyes, the way her smile falters for just a moment before she recovers. The questions keep coming, each one more pointed than the last. The uncle asks about her faith, her upbringing, her intentions with Daniel. Lisa answers, but the words feel hollow, rehearsed. She's trying to be everything they want her to be, but the pressure is mounting, and the cracks are starting to show. Every time she glances at Daniel, hoping for reassurance, he looks away, leaving her to fend for herself. The family watches in silence, their judgment hanging in the air like a storm cloud. What happens when the questions get personal? When the uncle stops asking about jobs and money and starts digging into the parts of Lisa's life she's tried so hard to keep hidden? The tension is building, and everyone in the room can feel it. The ceremony is only halfway through, but already the stakes have never been higher. The room feels colder now, as if the air itself has turned against Lisa, and the uncle's eyes narrow as he leans forward, his voice cutting through the tension with a question so blunt it almost doesn't sound real. Were you ever with a woman, Lisa? Are you a lesbian? The words hang in the air, heavy and impossible to ignore, and for a moment, time seems to stop. Lisa's breath catches in her throat, her mind scrambling for an answer. Any answer that won't destroy everything she's tried to build. She glances at Daniel, searching for a sign, a hint of support, but he sits stone-faced, refusing to meet her gaze, his silence louder than any accusation. Lisa's heart is pounding so hard she can barely hear herself think. She wants to run, to disappear, to take back every secret she ever shared. But there's nowhere to hide. The uncle's tone is sharp, almost clinical, as if he's dissecting her life piece by piece, looking for something to condemn. Lisa tries to steady her voice, to keep her hands from shaking, and says it was a phase, a mistake, something that happened a long time ago. She insists she's here for Daniel, that her past is behind her, but the words feel thin, insubstantial, like a shield made of paper. The truth is messier, more painful, and she knows it, but she can't bring herself to say it out loud. The uncle doesn't look convinced. He turns to Daniel, his expression hardening, and says that Daniel must keep an eye on Lisa, must make sure she doesn't stray, must protect the family's reputation at all costs. The implication is clear. Lisa is a risk, a problem to be managed, not a person to be trusted. Daniel nods, still silent, and Lisa feels the sting of betrayal settle in her chest. She's being handed over, not as a partner, but as a responsibility, a burden that Daniel must bear. Inside, Lisa is screaming. She wants to shout that she's more than her past, that she deserves to be seen for who she is now, not who she was. But the words won't come. Instead, she sits quietly, her face a mask of composure, while her mind races with guilt and fear. She wonders if she's made a terrible mistake, if she's traded one kind of loneliness for another, if she'll ever be able to escape the shadow of her own secrets. The weight of being judged, of being found wanting, presses down on her until she can barely breathe. She looks at Daniel again, hoping for a lifeline. but he offers nothing. No words, no comfort, not even a glance. Lisa realizes, in that moment, that she's on her own. The family's approval is conditional, fragile, and could be snatched away at any second. The uncle's warning echoes in her ears, a reminder that trust here is a currency she doesn't have, and Daniel is more interested in protecting himself than standing up for her. Will Daniel finally step up and defend Lisa, or will he let her take the fall alone? The answer could change everything, and right now, Lisa has no idea which way he'll go. The silence between them is louder than any argument, and the next move could shatter what little trust remains. The door closes behind them, shutting out the watchful eyes of Daniel's family, but the tension doesn't leave the room. Lisa's voice is low, trembling with anger and disbelief as she turns to Daniel, demanding to know how he could share her most private truth without warning her, without even asking. She's not shouting, but the hurt in her words is sharp enough to cut through any pretense. Daniel stands with his arms folded, his face set in a stubborn mask, and tells her that in his world, family comes before everything, even before her trust. He says secrets have a way of surfacing, that it's better to be honest with his uncle than to risk being caught in a lie later. He doesn't apologize, doesn't soften, just repeats that this is how things are done here, as if that should be enough to make her understand. Lisa feels the ground shift beneath her feet. She came here hoping for a partner, someone who would stand beside her when things got hard, but now she sees the truth. Daniel's loyalty isn't to her, it's to his family, to their approval, to the future he's mapped out for himself. She realizes, with a sinking feeling, that she's alone in this, that every secret she's kept is a weapon that could be turned against her at any moment. The trust she thought they were building is full of cracks, and she's not sure it can be repaired. The uncle calls them back into the living room, his expression unreadable as he delivers his final verdict. He gives his blessing, but it's not the unconditional acceptance Lisa hoped for. There are strings attached, warnings about behavior, reminders that Daniel will be watching, that the family's reputation is on the line. Lisa forces a smile, nods her head, but inside she feels hollow. She's passed the test, but the victory tastes bitter. The relief of being accepted is tangled up with dread because she knows this isn't the end. There are still secrets she hasn't shared, truths she's buried deep, and the fear of them coming to light is almost too much to bear. As the family gathers around to celebrate, Lisa stands at the edge of the room, watching Daniel laugh and joke with his relatives, his earlier coldness already forgotten. She wonders how much more she can take, how many more tests she'll have to pass, how many more pieces of herself she'll have to hide to keep this fragile peace. The cost of belonging here is higher than she ever imagined, and she's not sure she can pay it. What will happen when the rest of Lisa's secrets come out? The question hangs in the air, unanswered, as the celebration continues around her, and Lisa is left wondering if she's won anything at all. Lisa stands in the corner of the crowded room, her smile stretched thin as the family's laughter swirls around her. But inside, she's unraveling. The relief of surviving the interrogation fades fast, replaced by a heavy, gnawing guilt that won't let her breathe. She's still hiding so much, her marriage back home, the mountain of debt she's tried to ignore, the real story of her past that's so much more complicated than anyone here knows. Every time she looks at Daniel, she wonders if he suspects, if he's already guessed, or if he's simply too focused on his own goals to care. The secrets press down on her, each one a stone in her chest, and she can't shake the feeling that she's living on borrowed time. Daniel's mask slips more with every passing hour. He's charming with his family, quick to laugh and play the dutiful son. But when he turns to Lisa, his eyes are cold, his words clipped. He checks his phone constantly, barely listens when she speaks, and only seems interested in her when someone else is watching. The warmth he showed her online, the promises he made, feel like a distant memory. Now, he's all business, reminding her of the rules, correcting her mistakes, making it clear that her place here depends on her ability to keep up appearances. Lisa sees it now. He's not looking for a partner. He's looking for a ticket out, and she's the one holding it. In the quiet moments, Lisa hears her daughter's voice in her head, the warning she brushed aside before she left. Mom, are you sure about this? Do you really know him? Lisa wanted to believe she did. Wanted to believe that love could bridge the gap between their worlds. But now she's not so sure. The doubts she tried to silence are louder than ever, echoing in every awkward silence, every forced smile, every time Daniel looks right through her. Alone in the guest room that night, Lisa stares at the ceiling, replaying every decision that brought her here. She wonders if she's made a terrible mistake, if she sacrificed too much of herself for a dream that was never real. She thinks about the woman she used to be, confident, independent, unafraid to speak her mind, and wonders where that person went. The guilt is suffocating, but so is the fear. What happens if Daniel finds out about her marriage? What if the family discovers the truth about her finances? What if she's exposed, not just as a liar, but as someone who was never good enough to begin with? Lisa's mind races with questions she can't answer. Is she trapped, or is there still a way out? Can she reclaim her dignity, her self-respect, before it's too late? Or is she doomed to keep playing this part, hoping no one notices the cracks in her story? The uncertainty is almost unbearable, and as the night drags on, Lisa realizes she's never felt more alone. The future she imagined is slipping through her fingers, and she's left wondering if she'll ever find her way back to herself. Daniel sits on the edge of his bed, phone in hand, scrolling through messages from friends who are eager for updates, some joking about his American adventure, others asking if he's locked down his ticket to the States yet. He tries to laugh along, but the knot in his stomach tightens with every ping. The family's blessing should have been a victory, a green light for his plans, but instead, it feels like a warning. He replays the ceremony in his mind, the way Lisa's voice trembled, the way she hesitated before answering the uncle's questions, the way her eyes darted to him, searching for help he never offered. For the first time, Daniel wonders if he's made a mistake. He wanted someone who would follow his lead, who would fit into his world without making waves. But Lisa is unpredictable, emotional, and carrying secrets he can't quite pin down. He's told himself he can manage her, that as long as she plays her part, everything will work out, but now he's not so sure. What if she slips up? What if she tells the truth? What if the family finds out he's been hiding things too? Down the hall, Lisa paces the guest room, her mind spinning with possibilities. She's tired of lying, tired of pretending, tired of feeling like a stranger in her own life. The guilt is eating her alive, but so is the fear. She thinks about telling Daniel everything, about her marriage, her debts, the real reason she came here, but every time she gets close, she remembers the look on his face during the interrogation, the way he let her twist in the wind without lifting a finger to help. She knows what's at stake. If she comes clean, she could lose Daniel, lose the family's approval, lose the future she's been clinging to. But if she keeps lying, she risks losing herself. The family's expectations hang over both of them like a storm cloud. They want tradition, obedience, a marriage that fits their idea of respectability. They want Lisa to be grateful, to adapt, to erase any part of herself that doesn't fit. Daniel feels the pressure too, the unspoken demand to deliver, to prove he's made the right choice, to show that he can bring home a wife who will make the family proud. But the reality is messier than anyone wants to admit. Lisa is struggling, and Daniel knows it. He sees the way she flinches at his corrections, the way she shrinks under the uncle's gaze, the way she tries to smile through her discomfort. He tells himself it's normal, that she'll adjust, but deep down, he knows she's not the only one pretending. As the days pass, Daniel's frustration grows. He starts to push harder, using guilt and tradition as weapons. He reminds Lisa of everything he's sacrificed, of how much his family expects from him, of how important it is for her to fit in. He tells her she needs to try harder, to be more respectful, to stop questioning his decisions. When she hesitates, he accuses her of not caring enough, of not understanding what's at stake. He frames it as love, as protection. But Lisa can feel the walls closing in. Every conversation turns into a test. every mistake a reason for Daniel to tighten his grip. Lisa feels herself shrinking, her confidence eroding with every passing day. She wants to fight back, to push for honesty, but the risk is too great. She remembers the uncle's warning, the family's watchful eyes, the way Daniel's approval seems to hinge on her ability to keep quiet and play along. She wonders if she's lost herself completely, if there's any way to claw back her dignity without blowing up everything she's worked for. The thought of starting over is terrifying, but so is the idea of living a lie forever. Daniel, meanwhile, is haunted by his own doubts. He watches Lisa closely, looking for signs of weakness, of betrayal, of the truth slipping through the cracks. He tells himself he's in control, that he can handle whatever comes next, but the fear is always there, lurking beneath the surface. He worries that the family will find out about Lisa's secrets, that they'll blame him for bringing shame into the house, that his dream of a new life will slip away before he ever gets the chance to grab it. He starts to question his own choices, to wonder if the risk is worth the reward, to fear that he's built his future on a foundation of lies. The tension between them is palpable, a constant undercurrent that colors every interaction. Lisa tries to keep the peace to avoid confrontation, but the pressure is building. Daniel grows more controlling, more insistent, more desperate to maintain the illusion of order. The family watches from the sidelines, their approval conditional, their patience wearing thin. Every day feels like a balancing act, one misstep away from disaster. Lisa lies awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering how much longer she can keep this up. She thinks about her daughter, about the life she left behind, about the person she used to be. She wonders if she's strong enough to break free, or if she'll let herself be swallowed by the expectations of a family that will never truly accept her. Daniel, in his own room, stares at his phone, wondering if he's lost control, if he's risking everything for a dream that was never his to begin with. Who will break first, Lisa or Daniel? The answer feels closer every day, and when it comes, nothing in this house will ever be the same. Lisa's hands are shaking as she stands in the kitchen, the sound of Daniel's voice echoing from the next room, sharp and impatient. He's complaining about her again, about how she embarrassed him in front of his uncle, about how she still can't get the traditions right, about how she's making everything harder than it needs to be. She tries to swallow her anger, to remind herself why she came here, but something inside her snaps. She walks into the living room, her eyes blazing, and interrupts him mid-sentence. The words spill out before she can stop them, accusations, confessions, everything she's been holding back for days. She tells him she's tired of being treated like a problem, tired of pretending, tired of carrying the weight of his expectations and her own secrets. Her voice cracks, tears streaming down her face, but she doesn't care anymore. She tells him about her marriage, about her debt, about the fear that's been eating her alive since the moment she stepped off the plane. Daniel's face changes in an instant. The calm, controlled mask he's worn for his family slips away, replaced by something raw and panicked. He tries to talk over her, to regain control, but Lisa won't let him. She calls him out for using her, for caring more about appearances than about her, for letting her stand alone in front of his family while he kept his own secrets safe. The room is silent except for her sobs and his angry denials, the tension so thick it feels like the walls might crack. The family gathers in the doorway, drawn by the noise, their faces a mix of shock and confusion. The uncle steps forward, his disappointment clear, and demands to know what's going on. Lisa wipes her eyes and tells the truth. All of it, her voice shaking, but steady. She says she's not perfect, that she's made mistakes, but she won't be shamed for her past or used as a pawn in someone else's game. Daniel tries to defend himself, but the damage is done. The family sees him now, not as the dutiful son, but as someone willing to sacrifice another person's dignity for his own gain. The uncle's verdict is swift and harsh. He tells Daniel that trust is earned, not taken, and that bringing shame to the family is worse than any secret Lisa could have kept. He gives them an ultimatum: fix this mess or walk away from each other for good. The room is heavy with disappointment, the future uncertain. Lisa stands in the center of the chaos, her heart pounding, her mind racing. For the first time, she feels the weight lift, just a little. She's told the truth, faced the consequences, and survived. But the question remains, will she walk away now, free to rebuild her life? Or will she stay trapped in this cycle, hoping for a love that may never come? The answer hangs in the air, waiting for her to claim it. Lisa stands at the threshold of the house, suitcase in hand, the early morning light casting long shadows across the floor. The echoes of last night's confrontation still linger in the air, every word and accusation replaying in her mind. She feels raw, exposed, but also strangely lighter, as if the truth she finally spoke has peeled away a layer of shame she's carried for years. Daniel sits slumped on the couch, his head in his hands, the bravado and certainty that once defined him now replaced by a heavy silence. The family hovers nearby, their faces a mix of exhaustion and wary curiosity, waiting to see what she'll do next. For the first time since she arrived, Lisa realizes the choice is hers alone. She looks at Daniel, searching for any sign of the man she thought she loved, but all she sees is someone who wanted her to be a solution, not a partner. The memory of his silence during the uncle's interrogation, the way he let her take the fall, the way he used her secrets as leverage, all of it comes rushing back. She remembers her daughter's warning, the voice that told her to be careful, to protect herself, and she wonders why it took her so long to listen. The guilt that once threatened to drown her now feels like a lesson, a scar that reminds her of what she's survived. Daniel finally looks up, his eyes red, his voice small. He asks her to stay, to give him another chance, to help him fix what's broken. He promises things will be different, that he'll stand by her, that he'll fight for their future. But Lisa hears the desperation in his words, the fear of losing his dream, and she knows deep down that nothing has really changed. The pattern will repeat, the secrets will pile up, and she'll lose herself all over again. She takes a deep breath, steadying herself, and tells him the truth. She can't do it anymore. She can't keep lying, can't keep pretending, can't keep sacrificing her own happiness for someone else's approval. The family listens in silence, the weight of her words settling over the room. The uncle, who once saw Lisa as a threat, now sees her as someone who tried, who fought to belong, who was honest when it mattered most. He nods, a gesture of respect, but makes it clear that trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. The aunt, who watched Lisa struggle with the headpiece and the rituals, steps forward and hugs her, whispering that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. The cousins, who barely spoke to her before, offer quiet goodbyes, their eyes soft with understanding. It's not full acceptance, not a fairy tale ending, but it's not outright rejection either. It's something in between, a recognition of her effort, a bittersweet farewell. Daniel is left behind, the reality of his choices settling in. He wanted a new life, a fresh start, but he tried to build it on someone else's back. Now, as Lisa walks out the door, he's forced to reckon with what he's lost. The family's disappointment is clear, but so is their relief. The drama is over, the secrets are out, and the house feels quieter, emptier, but also more honest. Daniel sits alone, the weight of his ambition pressing down on him, and for the first time, he wonders if the cost was worth it. Lisa steps into the sunlight, the suitcase heavy in her hand, but her heart lighter than it's been in years. She thinks about everything she's been through, the lies, the guilt, the fear, the hope, and realizes she's stronger than she ever gave herself credit for. She's not running away, she's choosing herself. The journey from guilt to self-acceptance wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Every secret she kept, every warning she ignored, every lie she told, they all led her here, to this moment of clarity. She knows there will be more challenges ahead, more questions to answer, more healing to do, but for the first time, she's not afraid. As she walks down the path, Lisa glances back at the house one last time. She remembers the first day, the nerves, the excitement, the hope that love would be enough. She remembers the rituals, the questions, the way Daniel looked at her when he thought no one was watching. She remembers the pain of being judged, the sting of betrayal, the relief of finally telling the truth. All of it is part of her story now. A story she gets to write for herself. The family watches from the doorway, their expressions a mix of regret and respect. They may never fully understand her, but they can't deny her courage. Daniel stands apart, his dreams slipping through his fingers, forced to face the consequences of his choices. The cycle is broken, the secrets are out, and everyone is left to pick up the pieces in their own way. Lisa's journey isn't over. She still has to face her marriage back home, her debts, the reality of starting over. But she's not the same woman who arrived here, desperate for approval and afraid of her own truth. She's learned that love built on lies can't last, that self-respect is worth more than anyone's blessing, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what hurts you. What happens next for Lisa and Daniel? Will Daniel try to win her back? Or will he chase a new dream? Will the family ever accept another outsider? Or will this experience change them forever? And will Lisa find the happiness she deserves now that she's finally free to be herself? The answers are waiting, and the next chapter is about to begin. If you thought this story was wild, you won't believe what's coming next, so stay tuned, because the drama is far from over.